So for us, we just made a clear decision of that everything that we own, we share it.
If you don't share everything, then you feel like, oh, this is mine. This is what I paid for.
Yeah.
I worked for this. I deserve this. And I think that you can kind of grow resentful.
Yeah.
But, oh, you are using my plates.
Yeah. My
Or
TV.
my TV.
I want to watch football. It's my TV.
Yeah, you broke my TV. It's not that I had this in mind that when we get married, I want you to provide.
Okay.
It's more that you want to provide. And
you
then
don't have a problem
that I don't mind.
Okay, nice. So there wasn't an expectation on him. Okay.
No.
How was it the other way though? Was there an expectation for you from her that, this is what I would expect you to do in the family? Or was it also a thing of, she likes doing this and I don't mind?
Do you expect me to cook and clean?
Okay, maybe that's the direct question.
I was out of frame.
This is the first couple I'm interviewing for this whole idea, and I'm really excited to have you guys here. So thanks for honoring us with your presence. So here I have Vincent, and I have Chelsea, very good friends of mine, married for how many years, Vincent?
3.5 years.
Is it 3.5?
Yes.
We're married for 3.5 years, and I've had a bit about your story before and also after. I think there's a lot you can share, and I'm just glad to have you guys here sharing. So they're going to be sharing a bit about their marriage, obviously a bit because the internet doesn't need to know everything, but a bit and also more from a Christian perspective. I have a few questions that I'll be asking to either of you or both of you. We can start with an introduction.
Yeah, so I'm Vincent. I'm 31 years old, of Chinese-Indonesian descent, but born and raised here in the Netherlands in Amstelveen. Currently working on my residency of maxillofacial surgery in Rotterdam, Rotterdam. Currently, as mentioned before, married for 3.5 years with this beautiful woman.
Oh.
I'm Chelsea Dayton, and I'm 30 years old, born and raised here in the Netherlands. Work as a school dentist. I like to dance. I also volunteer at church.
So before moving to the questions, I just have one trick question. But Chelsea, what date did Vincent propose to you?
Oh.
The 23rd of December, 20
what?
2019.
Is that true, Vincent?
He doesn't know.
I have no idea.
I couldn't say anything.
Yes.
You don't know, Vincent?
I have no idea.
What?
I'm so bad with dates.
Oh, I should have asked you then. Okay, so we can move to the questions. The first question directed to the husband. At what point did you know you were ready to marry Chelsea? People usually say, from where I come from, that the guys usually know from the beginning, from the first conversations, you just know, yeah, I'm sure I want to marry this lady. So for you,
He didn't know.
so for you, how was that? Was it something that you knew early on, or at what point?
I think for me it went very gradually. So I don't think there was a specific point where I was like, okay, now I know I want to marry this girl. Something that could be a part in it as well is that Chelsea was my first girlfriend. So like the whole experience for me was new. From the beginning, I knew that I was in love with her. I didn't really know and compare like from the past, when did you feel like someone is really meant for you or not? It went very gradually. So just over time, we grew closer, began to learn more about each other, and also evolved with our lives. And in a sudden point, it was clear for me that I wanted to propose and marry her.
So that certain point, what did that look like? Like when you felt like, okay, you know what, next month on the 17th or on the 16th, I want to propose.
Quite a funny story as well, but Chelsea can sometimes be very direct in what she wants.
Okay.
For me, it was like I didn't want to do it too early because also practical. we were still studying, and I was in Belgium, and Chelsea was still in the Netherlands. So for me, it was okay if we would postpone until I was back in the Netherlands. But Chelsea was kind of in a different life phase, and she just wanted it. And she made it very clear
Okay.
that she wanted me to propose. And at first I was like, okay, chill down,
Yeah.
give it some time. But then, at a certain point, I was like, Chelsea is ready, and why shouldn't I be ready? So just, at a certain point I was like, okay,
Awesome.
yes, I'm ready for it as well.
That's really nice. I'm really surprised I never knew this part of the story. Yeah. Because the next part of the question is now for you, Chelsea. Were you expecting him to propose already? Obviously you were. And I was also going to ask you, was there any point where you asked him, so when are you going to propose? But I don't know, how was that for you managing, like you said, the different points or phases in life that you were in, and then you expecting, and I don't know, his approach or his preparation towards that? How did you manage it?
We were in different life phases. I was working, and he was still studying in Belgium. So I understand you're not fully ready. Your head is just in a different space. So, but I was ready. And I was not subtle. I also gave him my ring. So that's he had my size.
Okay.
You know, my cousin gave me that tip. But honestly, when he proposed, I wasn't expecting it because I was just hinting for a very long time. At least it felt that way to me.
How did you manage that? You know, when is he taking the step, or
the waiting, how that was for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've been together for like 7-8 years before we got married.
like in a relationship?
Dating, yeah.
Okay.
So you're together for a long time, but you also still have some doubts. So I think it's good that we waited for quite a while so that we could really talk about everything, make sure, you know, all your secrets are out in the open already.
Yeah.
I don't know if I waited well, but I think whenever doubts were coming, I just knew I still wanted you.
Yeah.
It's not fun, but I felt like he was still worth it to wait. So
Okay.
Yeah.
And in that, did you also understand why he was waiting, or did it just feel like, what exactly is he waiting for?
yeah, I did understand why, because when I was studying, you're just in a different headspace. So
Okay.
I did understand.
I think you've also touched on this a bit, but like, was there any point where you guys or one of you thought like, is this gonna make it to marriage? And, you know, like, what also helped you guys move past those feelings, doubts, or uncertainty?
I felt like I had some things he needed to know, my uglier side in a way. And then
You have an uglier side,
yeah,
Chelsea?
we won't go into detail about my ugly side.
Yeah.
It felt really good that I could share it. I felt like this huge secret.
Yeah.
And then honestly, when I told him, because I was like, are we even gonna stay together
Yeah.
if this is a thing?
Yeah.
And then he was just like, no, it's not a thing. It's not a deal breaker.
Okay.
And then I think that helped for me.
For you, Vincent, did you also have any of that where from the beginning you said you knew you were in love with her, but was there any point where maybe there was just a bit of doubt on like, are we gonna make it to marriage?
Yeah, maybe not doubt, but something that we've mentioned before, maybe like in practical side, it was very hard when we were not close to each other. So as mentioned, I was studying in Belgium. Chelsea was already living in the Netherlands. And being there in a long distance relationship, it can be hard, made it more difficult, but also strengthened our relationship. So one thing that we, or at least I, got out of it is that we really appreciated the time that we had with each other, because time was limited. So times that we could see each other, it was just trying to enjoy the most out of it.
Yeah.
For us, the thing that we can hang on to was that we knew that it was an infinite, or not infinite.
It was
It was temporary,
Yeah. So we knew there was gonna be an end.
That
That really helped.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think there was also any other points where it felt like, am I sure? about this?
No, but can I say something about the long distance?
Yeah, sure.
I think it's really nice that we both had a life without each other in a way. So it didn't feel like I had to wait on him
Yeah.
every weekend to
Yeah.
just I could still have a life.
Yeah.
It's of course you miss him, but
I
like
miss him. I didn't know him.
I miss him.
Yeah.
I missed him, but you knew it was temporary. And
Yeah.
another struggle for me before getting married, which I also expressed to him, is that I wasn't sure how serious he was with his walk with God. So that was just a doubt between us.
How was it like to you, Vincent, when she shared that with you?
Yeah.
Was your ego crushed?
No, not crushed. The first thing to say is that I think that's good that she mentioned it,
Yeah.
and very directly, because then I knew this was an important factor for her. And yeah, coming from my perspective, I grew up in a Christian family. And so I was mainly raised by my mother in a Christian way. My father, over the course of his life, became a non-believer. But until my teenage years, there were no Christian things in our daily life.
Yeah.
So we didn't go to church, only at Christmas. But other than that, yeah, we did not pray together.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I was a non-believer, because something that I always have done is prayer.
Yeah.
By myself. But
Yeah.
and so when I met Chelsea, I came back to the Christian life again. And yeah, in the beginning for me it was it was a journey that I had to go through.
Yeah.
Because it was not like I came back and was fully there.
Yeah.
I had my doubts as well.
Yeah.
In the beginning, yeah, it can feel like it is a commitment
Yeah.
you have to go through.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I liked your response when I told you.
What was the response?
Yeah, he said it really needs to come from me. You know, I cannot make him be closer to God. It needs to come from his heart. And yeah, he was just very honest in his response.
Yeah.
And so I appreciated that. And it is true. It needs to come.
Yeah, I mean, because the
Yeah.
next question was gonna be, did you then become a Christian because of Chelsea? But it's also nice to hear that his response was from his heart. So I can imagine that from then onwards, it was a step for you going through that journey, and then for you becoming more confident, seeing the steps he was taking. How was the journey for you? In just few sentences, was it a smooth ride, or was it a Christian today, not Christian tomorrow, Christian another day? How was that for you?
As I mentioned before, quite gradually as well.
Okay.
So it started with Chelsea inviting me to go to student meetings when we were still studying in Belgium.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then afterwards inviting me to C3 in Amsterdam. So I started going together with Chelsea.
Nice.
And then gradually, it became our standard Sunday to go to church.
Nice.
Building from that, it became a commitment.
Nice.
And yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful to hear all of this. I'm also
Yeah.
hearing some of these things for the first time. Okay, we have a break. Drink water if you want. You ready?
Ready.
What was one thing that you wish you knew more of before getting married?
We didn't really have a lot of struggles, but I think one of the main struggles that we had in the beginning of our marriage was learning how to live together. It was a new experience, being 24/7 with each other, which we really hadn't done before, apart from vacations where you be there temporarily with each other, but not in a long-term way.
Yeah.
Having to deal with each other's little habits, and learning, how a person wants to live and wants their personal space and has their little things.
Yeah.
That was something that we had some bumps in the road, if I may say so. That we had some discussions, and that was something that we had to deal with. And not only the discussions in itself, but also how to deal with it and how to try to avoid it for in the future. How to learn how to cope with those discussions and those feelings or thoughts that you have.
I can imagine that you probably used to leave the wardrobe open and your clothes hanging, and she didn't like it.
Me?
Or was it you, Chelsea, who was doing that?
Yeah, Vincent is more organized than me and more neat. So yeah,
That still blows my mind because I thought you were the most organized person ever.
he used to live with us.
I
by
used
the
to
way,
live with them, and the rules that Chelsea gave me.
I mean, I
Tell
don't
me
think.
he is more organized. But I think what also makes me really curious in this is before you guys got married, you didn't have a roommate. You never lived with a roommate.
No,
So-
we always lived like with our parents or by ourselves.
Yeah, because I think
Yeah.
also living with a roommate would have given you a sense of how it feels living with somebody who has their own thing, their own personality.
Yeah,
So it makes sense why this was not just new for
extra
you
hard
guys
for us.
because you are different, but also because you are married.
Yeah,
But how was that for you, Chelsea?
we did our marriage prep with church, so I felt like a lot of important topics were covered. But yeah, the first year of living together was, I think, a bumpy ride because that was when we had our first fight.
I was thinking the first year would be the honeymoon. Yeah.
Maybe for some, but I mean, it was both. It was and the honeymoon, but also our first fights.
Which one was it more of?
Hard to say. No.
You even made it sound worse.
I'm so grateful that we had our fights, and it was an opportunity for us to get to know each other better. And I think you can really grow stronger. That sounds toxic. You can grow stronger from fighting. No. Fun fact. So we've been together for 8 years before we married.
Yeah.
And I don't think we ever fought during dating.
Wow.
So I was waiting for the day we fought.
Really?
Yeah, because I find it so weird. How can you not fight with someone for so long? And I think it's because we did long distance.
Isn't that
No.
supposed to even...
No.
I don't know. I feel like the long distance is even supposed to make you guys fight more. 'Cause
Yeah.
then you're not seeing yourself in person, and I think in my own experience, physical contact reduces the
Yeah.
fight, or
And the distance can maybe cause distortion of communication, maybe.
something like that, and then the
Yeah.
physical communication makes communication just easier.
Easier.
But,
Yeah. I think
but when you say you didn't fight, is it that you didn't have a big fight, or you didn't have not even like a medium
I
fight?
think you were mad at me once.
What did you do, Chelsea?
We were at a festival and he lost me.
If he lost you, why were you mad at her?
Because I think he thought I should have communicated better where I was.
Do you think you should have communicated better where you were?
I mean, maybe. And I think maybe I got mad at you also once, but I can't remember why.
Yeah, but no big fights.
Yeah, I just thought it was a good thing for us to get to know each other better. And I think the reason why we fought is also because now we are confronted with each other's presence, and every little thing annoys you. And at least that was the thing for me.
So all the fights you didn't have for 8 years, you had it in 1 year of marriage.
I think so. And still, it wasn't too bad, I think. I think you can learn so much from the fights you have.
Yeah.
Because what I am grateful for is that when we fought, maybe you can hold my mic, it wasn't like bum, 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 bum. I feel like some fights just continue for the sake of fighting, and you forget why you're fighting.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we had an argument, usually one of us was mad. And if the other one isn't mad, then, there's just only one person yelling. But
It's a waste of madness. So.
yeah, of course, there were times when we both were mad.
Yeah.
But I think our strategy, I don't know if it was a strategy, but how it resolved was just us giving each other a little bit of space, but not too much, not like a whole night.
Yeah.
and then coming back to each other with a bit more calmness and explaining this is how I feel, this is how you feel. Yeah, trying to see where the other one is coming from. And I think one good advice that Pastor Louis gave us during the marriage prep is that when you, not necessarily when you fight, but you tend to judge someone else's actions more than their intentions.
Yeah.
And when you done something wrong yourself, you say, oh, sorry, but I didn't mean to, you know?
Yeah.
But then you kind of negate the action.
Oh,
You
it's
focus
easier
more
to see your intention
from yourself
for yourself, but focus on the action
of the other.
person.
Yes, thank you for, yeah.
I think what's really beautiful is also that you mentioned marriage prep. And I think, I mean, everybody should get marriage prep, but especially for Christians, it's
Yeah.
important that you get marriage prep from people that you really trust or people's marriages that you admire, not just from social media, of course, but like first-hand experience. Because what I found so, what I really love about what you said was that you already felt prepared in a lot of ways for marriage. And it was just this aspect of living together that's, I mean, nobody can really prepare you for that if you haven't lived with somebody
That's
before.
true. That is very true.
So I
Yeah.
think get marriage prep as early as you can, and also from people that you trust.
Yeah.
I also believe fights are normal, and it's very abnormal that you didn't fight for 8 years.
I agree with you. I also found it very abnormal.
So abnormal to not fight for 8 years, but I think
I wanted
fights
to
are normal.
fight, but it didn't happen.
Are you the toxic one?
May I add just another point, which is also something that has been discussed at the marriage prep.
Yeah.
One big factor in a relationship is communication. So I think communication during a relationship, during a marriage, is such a big factor in every way. Like for discussions that you have, if you have any disagreements. The biggest factor is communicate with each other. And if you're in the heat of the moment, then it's not good to communicate then, because then you're full of hormones. So then it's better to just let it cool off, and then you can make arrangements with each other for those kind of moments as well. From before, you can say, if one of us is mad at each other, we can wait for about two hours and then discuss it with each other. But it's important to keep communicating and having arrangements for those kind of moments.
A lot of people talk about communication, but I love that you could also share the practical sides of communicating for you, like taking space, and also one person realizing I'm the only one who is mad, so maybe I shouldn't be mad. Moving on to the next question, and this question really came from my own personal culture. Did you receive any form of pressure from family or people around you to get married, or pressure to have kids? And I'm asking this because even my mom is already asking me questions like, so when are you getting married? I don't want to generalize it for the whole of Africa, but in Nigeria it's very common for, especially as the first child. I think if you're even a lady, the pressure comes pretty early. A guy, it comes pretty late, but because I'm the first child, I'm still young, but I'm already getting the pressure. So in that, you get this pressure to like get married, and if you're in a relationship, there's this pressure to like take the next step. And even when you get married, there's already this pressure like, so in 9 months, it's something that personally I don't enjoy. And good thing my parents are not very like so heavy on it. It's more like passing statement. How is that for you, with pressure from family or friends or society?
That from our side, there was not really that much pressure, and maybe that can be a cultural aspect as well. Like we're both from Chinese Indonesian descent, but also like a lot of culture from the Dutch that has been influencing our culture as well. Even from growing up, there hasn't been a lot of pressure, I think, of like our parents wanting to push us in a certain way. So also for marriage, there wasn't really any pressure from our parents' side.
So interesting that you guys did it for 8 years and you didn't get pressure.
Yeah.
8 years.
I pressured him.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there was pressure, but from each other.
Yeah.
But 8 years, I can't even imagine something like that where I come from. Like in the second year, you're already, unless you're like very young, still in school, of course, but from the second year, already getting this. So when I feel like 8 years, the only reason why you won't get pressure at 8 years is because your parents just give up on you. Like, you know what? Marry whenever you want. We'll just focus on the next child.
I think it is a cultural difference. Yeah, I also didn't feel any pressure. I wonder if also my parents know me, because I feel like if they pressure me, it like has the opposite effect.
Okay.
So yeah, and I think also with the getting children, yeah, they're just very respectful and yeah.
Wow.
Maybe if they feel like it's not their place, or I actually don't know. I can ask them. You cannot imagine.
I can't relate. I can't. You know,
What that must be like.
Where I come from, you can't tell your parents, for example, that, oh, we don't have plans to have kids, or like we don't want to have kids for the next 5 years.
It's not an option even.
I mean, you can still go ahead and be rebellious, but
it's considered rebellious.
It's considered rebellious. It's considered you are not doing marriage right. Like,
but I think they're just also very mindful of our life phase. Like, for example, when we're in the phase of being able to get married, I was still studying in Belgium, so just in practical side, it was hard.
True.
You could do it, but it would have been easier as we have done it when I was back in the Netherlands. And for kids, for example, in practical side, I'm working in Rotterdam every day. So then it's also harder to have kids, and it would be easier when I'm back working here in the neighborhood.
Okay. So how is marriage going so far for you? And what is one difficult thing that you guys are still figuring out?
How marriage is so far? Good. I'm enjoying this man. After, our fights and talking through some things, I feel like we are, very stable. Right now, at least.
Are you pessimistic about the future?
No, that's not what I mean. I think one advice someone from church gave us is to plan weekends where you just have time for the two of you. And I think that was so valuable because I've really enjoyed those weekends where we have 2 days together and it's just us, and we've had the most gezellige tijd, gezellige time, and just good conversations. I think we've learned from our bumpy ride. At the start of our marriage, I had to get used to being with him a lot because he had a break of a half year of not working or studying. So he was at home all the time. And I had to get used to that. And then he started working. Is that something I should...
Yeah, wait.
Yeah. To give you some context, when we first got married, I had to get used to being with him because he had a break of a half a year. So he didn't study or work. He was at home a lot. So I really had to get used to him being there all the time. And once I got used to that, then he left for work. And then he had this crazy schedule of often having to work 100 hours a week. So I really missed him that period, especially after the period.
Is the 100 hours an exaggeration? Or...
No, it's actually not.
Okay.
And it was extra difficult, I feel, because I got used to him being with me so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, and now I'm kind of used to him being away for a long time.
Is it still 100 hours a week currently?
Well, these 3 weeks are a bit more chill.
Well, aside these 3 weeks, like generally.
No, it's better now because those 100 hours are like in really bad weeks.
Oh, okay.
Where you have a lot of on-calls during the night.
Yeah.
But right now our schedule has changed, so right now it's a little bit better.
Okay.
70 hours. Yeah. But yeah, I'm kind of used to him being at work a lot. I just work a lot too now. No. And yeah, but he's about to leave to Tilburg. So that's how many hours? 1.5 hours away from here.
Approximately.
Yeah, so I think that will be a challenge as well to see how we manage when he's even, when I see him even less.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I think that.
I think one part you also mentioned when we spoke a few weeks ago was that, because I was curious, how are you, is this how you want to live in your marriage, like forever? And you, or until retirement? And then you also mentioned that what is also helping you guys currently is the fact that this whole our spontaneous, well, I don't think it's spontaneous, but like not very healthy schedule is for a short time. Or how did you explain it that time?
Yeah, so right now the schedule is during my residency. So the residency is a 4-year program, and afterwards, yeah, you can start working where you want to work for yourself. So then you're a lot more free to schedule your working days and hours
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
And for me, yeah, it's I find it also very important to be able to give a lot of
Your time?
or aandacht.
Oh, attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, to give a lot of attention as well to my family life, because for me that's one of the most important things in life. So
Yeah.
work, I'm glad that have found work which I find enjoyable to do, but it's not the most important.
True.
So especially when we have a family with children, that's gonna be my higher priority than work.
Yeah.
So knowing that this is only temporary, that helps us as well
Yeah.
in going through these crazy schedules.
How many years do you have left?
1 year and 1 month.
Oh, Chelsea must be really happy.
Yes. Yes. And then I have to get used to him being there again.
And then maybe another year of fighting. You've also mentioned this also while you were dating long distance. It's really lovely that you can see these things from it's temporary perspective, and hopefully after these 4 years you don't pick up any other residency. So.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I like that you mentioned it, because it's quite easy to talk about it. Oh, it's long distance, you don't see each other.
Yeah.
But it is tough, it's but you just, like you said, you have your eyes on something more long lasting. So
Any other difficult thing you guys are currently trying to figure out, or
maybe just one more word about the long distance relationship. I also think that it's very personal how you deal with a long distance relationship. For us, what worked is that during the week where we didn't see each other, we didn't really contact each other, like in the sense of we didn't spoke to each other daily on the phone or something like that. We just had our daily lives, and for us that made it workable in the sense that when we did see each other,
then you have time.
Then we could fully commit to each other. But again, it's very personal, so I can imagine that for other people it is
Waiting
good
till the weekend.
and it is good to have 1 hour long conversations on the phone. But that's something that you just have to discover for yourself if you're in a relationship and in a position like that.
So how do you create healthy Christ-like boundaries between you and your parents? Again, this question comes a bit from my own cultural perspective, where, for example, the mother of a son still wants to have certain authority or influence over the son, but then the son is committed to this new woman, the wife, and then there is this conflict between the wife and the mother, and then the son has to take that position of establishing a boundary. Usually, if the son is like Christian, because I mean, in the outside the Christian setting, some sons might still feel like, yeah, but she's my mother, she gave birth to me. But from the Christian perspective, you see sons like myself wanting to establish that boundary. I'm glad that my parents are chill. They're not very, at least so far, they're not very like, I want authority. And maybe the culture are also different again. But how is that for you with establishing these boundaries? Because what's also interesting is you live very close to your mom and your dad. Like they're just the other side. And I
Yeah.
don't think that's something I can do. So how do you navigate the boundaries in that?
Yeah, like Dillian said, I live next to my parents, or our parents now. And I actually had to really think about it before deciding to do this. And he was actually more chill with it than I was. Because I was like, okay, if we do this, I need to be clear with my boundaries. I told them, you can have the key, but you can only come in when, you ring the doorbell and I open. So
Wow.
I've made that clear to them.
How was it? Did they take it in a was this new rule or
No, they didn't. They didn't take offense.
Okay.
They understood, so that was nice.
Nice.
Honestly, my mom would still come in.
Okay.
Sorry, mom, exposing you. And then she said, "Yeah, I did what you said. I rang the doorbell." I'm like, "Yeah, but you didn't wait for me to open."
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I feel like they still respect their boundaries.
Okay.
Yeah, they try to ring the bell and wait.
Aside that, is there any other way that you had to establish to them, for example, maybe the advice they give to you or things they want you to do or things to do in this house? Like in other areas, how do you establish that boundary with, thanks for your opinion, but this is me
Yeah.
and my husband or me and my wife to decide?
I think they've been pretty chill with
Okay.
giving advice. I think it would be more of a struggle if we had children. And then I think there will be more opinions on how to raise children.
Okay, yeah,
Because I've noticed that with my cousin,
yeah.
that I think it's almost normal that parents will have an opinion on how to raise a child because they've done it before.
Yeah.
And so I think then there'll probably
okay,
be a
okay.
struggle or
Yeah.
two. But
How is that for you, Vincent? Your family doesn't live so close, but
Still quite close.
okay, yeah, but like for you, do you have to choose between your mom and your wife, or in other ways that your dad might want to advise you? Like, yeah, how does that work for you?
From my side, the parents are also very chill.
Wow, guys have chill parents.
Yeah. Yeah, I can always come to them for advice, which I really appreciate. But they're never like demanding of how I should treat things or do things. They just give advice and then they let the knowledge be with me and I can decide my
Nice.
own choice.
Oh, nice. Not part of the question, but have you ever felt the need to also establish boundaries between you and friends? Because obviously you had friends before you guys got married. You had friends before you guys got married. Was there any point where you also had to establish your friend, like, hey, she's my first priority. I want to hang with you guys, but I need to do this. And yeah, I don't know if there was ever a need for doing that. Or maybe you also have chill friends.
yeah, a lot of my friends are introverts, so they like to be by themselves.
So when you tell them I can hang out, they're like, works for me.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel
Okay.
that's the case.
I think I just have chill friends.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can I add something about Vincent?
Yeah?
I actually try to stimulate him to see his friends more than he does. But I understand where he's coming from because he has such a crazy schedule.
Yeah. He
I
just
actually
wants to
like
spend
that he
time with you.
prioritizes me
Nice.
Yeah.
above his friends.
Nice.
Sorry, friends.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, but I think that's the struggle he has right now.
Yeah.
Just time
Okay.
to.
Yeah, I think it's a broader known difficulty is like with a lot of my friends as well. Time is also very
Yeah.
limited as well.
That makes
So
sense.
for us to be able to schedule something is just very hard.
Nice.
Like this conversation. It
Oh,
took a
okay.
while to schedule.
Indeed.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it took like, we'll be free in the next 2 months. 2 months. But it's happening now, so I'm grateful. The next question, do you have a combined bank account? I've seen families or couples where the husband is like, you know what, my wife's money is her money, my money is for the whole house. And I'm like, I respect that you are willing to do that. I don't think I am. But for you, do you have combined bank account, or do you, Vincent, take care of all the expenses in the house? Or maybe do you take care of all the expenses in the house, Chelsea? Like, how does that work for you guys?
Very important question, I think. And that's also something that was discussed in our marriage prep. And yeah, I think really good that it has been mentioned and that we were able to think about this particular subject before we got married. Because I think it's important to to have your keuze. Om een keuze gemaakt te hebben over hoe je dit wil gaan doen.
Yeah, you need to make a decision, like a predetermined decision before marriage.
Yeah. So I think it's important to have a predetermined decision on how you want to do this together with your spouse.
Yeah.
So for us, we just made a clear decision of that everything that we own, we share it. In practical way, we have our own bank accounts, but we also have a shared bank account. But we know that everything that we have is from the both of us. And I think, it's a Christian value to do it like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's also good for your relationship as well.
Yeah.
Because as you may deny it, in the world where we live in, money will always be a factor which can cause a lot of harm. The mindset that everything is shared, just creates rest as well for in the future, but also for now.
If you don't share everything, then you feel like, oh, this is mine. This is what I paid for. I worked for this. I deserve this. And I think that you can kind of grow resentful. Like, oh, you are using my plates.
My
or
TV.
My TV.
I want to watch football. It's my TV.
Yeah, you broke my TV.
And
also, you are also celebrating it together. When you've earned something, it's like a win for us both.
I think the perspective you guys also answer this question is in the sense of if you are buying things that is for both of you. How does it, or maybe this is where your individual accounts come in, how does it come in when, okay, you want to get a new clothes or you want to get new shoes or new cars? Apparently you like cars more than shoes. Like, how does that work? Is that where you just, it's into your own personal account and just move on with it? Like, maybe that's something you would never touch the combined accounts for. I don't know if that's how it works for you.
Yeah, so practically we have our separate accounts and a joint account, but we view everything as shared.
Okay.
So like smaller expenses we don't really discuss, and we kind of know how we are with expenses, so we kind of trust each other a lot. And then bigger expenses need to be discussed.
I mean, you already said that everything is shared and that holds, but this joint account, what is the principle there? Is it like 50% of your salary goes there, or every month everybody drops 10,000 euros? I don't know how rich you guys are, but like how, if everything is viewed as shared, the other camera just stopped.
Oh, okay.
But
we just want to continue with
let's
this
just
one.
continue with this camera. I can't do that anymore. If you already view everything as shared, then what is the principle behind that joint account?
Oh, why we have it? I think it's more practical to have our expenses that are for the both of us to be paid from that one. And it's to have an overview of our joint expenses.
Okay.
So it's more a practical reason. And how much money goes in. It's not like I have to give 50% of that joint account and he has to give 50%. It's just we want to make sure there's enough on the account so that we can pay our expenses. But it's not, I don't think we have agreements on how much we put on there.
No, and I think, that are just the practical aspects. Like, it doesn't really matter how you do it. Like everybody probably will have a better insight for them of how to fulfill it practically. But I think the main important thing is that that in your mind everything is shared.
So there's never even a feeling of I dropped more than you this month.
No, no.
That's really nice.
There's we don't even have to think about it because we know that everything is from both of us.
Nice. Still on a similar topic, gender roles. How do you approach that in your marriage? I know that this is also a topic that comes up in marriages where some women are okay being a housewife, some men are okay being the provider, some people are okay being the I cook, you do the dishes, I do this, you do that. Like, How was that conversation for, or if that conversation didn't exist, how has that been for you in your marriage?
So I think in my
Interesting the way both of you said,
I think in my general view, I'm quite traditional. I think with the gender roles. So I would think that me as a husband, I have to provide for the family.
yeah,
So for me, it was also quite hard in the beginning when I was still studying in Belgium. I didn't really have any income,
yeah.
and Chelsea was already working.
Oh,
Uh,
crushed your
yeah,
ego.
and financially, was there for us. So for me, that was quite hard. What it was that made it easier was that I knew that I was still busy with my
Yeah,
education, and afterwards, I was able to provide.
yeah.
But for the future, for me, I want to be able to provide for our family.
But you said earlier that you are also open to the idea of a house husband.
Yeah, but that's more
In the weekends.
yeah, and that's a joke. I wouldn't mind because I really like to be at home.
Yeah, he's a homebody.
Yeah.
How I see that, like for now, because he works more, I do more in the house. So he does the trash,
Yeah.
and I try to do the rest. I'm not so good at keeping up, and he's not like, oh, that's not my job. He will pick up things, you know. He
nice.
will clean the dishes, vacuum. Yeah, so that's what I really like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I like that he wants to provide, and
Yeah.
I don't mind. So yeah, you can provide for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was also raised a bit that way.
Yeah.
That the husband provides, and
Yeah.
he really likes his job.
Yeah.
I actually also like my job. So yeah, why not continue? We get to earn money
Yeah.
and do the things.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I love my job, but
Yeah. Would you call yourself a career-driven woman?
no.
Okay. And
Yeah.
would you call yourself a career-driven man?
Yeah, in some way, yes. Yeah.
The reason why I ask this question is it feels to me like you're a career-driven woman also because of, you know, how much you do in your work and I mean how much you enjoy it. And I think a curious question for me was just how do you navigate the fact that you're both into your careers?
Yeah.
But I think there is a good balance with the fact that you are not as into your career as he is, and then you can do whatever rules work for you guys.
Yeah. And it's also, you know, I cannot look in the future, but if anything happens, and, you know, it's not that I had this in mind that when we get married, I want you to provide.
Okay.
It's more that you want to provide. And
And
then
you don't have a problem with
that I don't mind.
Okay, nice. So there wasn't an expectation
Yeah.
on him. Okay.
No, that was not the case.
How was it the other way though? Was there an expectation for you from her that, you know, this is what I would expect you to do in the family? Or was it also a thing of, she likes doing this and I don't mind?
In what way? In like providing or?
No, like in terms of like she doing more of the house things, like she said. For you, was that like, I expect my wife to do this, or if my wife wants to
good
do this, you know, fine. So how was that? Because she said she didn't expect you to be a provider.
Yeah.
It's just a thing of,
Do you
wanna
expect
do it?
me to cook and clean?
Okay, maybe that's the direct question. Do you expect her to cook and clean?
Yeah, interesting question. I've never thought about it,
Thought that was the answer.
Yeah.
yeah, maybe I just think about it really rational, but yeah, in a practical sense, it would be easier if Chelsea cooks during the weeks at least.
Yeah.
Because if I'm back at work, back home from work at 8 o'clock in the evening, then it's quite unpractical to then have to cook and then eat at around 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So in that sense, maybe yes, but I think it went very naturally for us.
Okay.
I don't even remember if we made agreements of who has to
does
cook
what.
or anything like that.
I also don't feel that expectation.
Nice.
So I do try to cook, but I don't always feel like it. And then, I feel like there's an understanding that
Nice.
I wasn't able to cook, or
Nice.
but maybe you want to share now how you really feel.
No, I really love that there is a mutual understanding in this, because it's I don't have a problem with any role anybody wants to take, but where I often see that conflict is when, oh, the husband expects this, or the wife expects this, and then there is a problem. But as long as there's that mutual understanding or cooperation, then yeah, whatever role any of you wants to take, that's fine.
An important factor just in general is in modern day society, everything is about individualisme
Individualistic.
en eigen belang.
Yeah, it's kind of the same.
So in modern day society, a big aspect right now is individualism.
Yeah.
So people lose sight of the feelings of somebody else, and it's all about me, and I want this, I want this, I want to reach this.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a relationship as well, if you just put your mind and view into the perspective of the other one, and try to understand how people act from those perspectives, it will give more sense and a clearer picture of why somebody else behaves like that. And that's, I think very important in a relationship to keep in mind.
I think it's already a bit obvious that you are the direct one and you are the chill one. But the question here is, what are the struggles and personalities that you have had living together? Maybe you like your alone time, she doesn't like alone time, or maybe in fights she's more confrontational, you are less confrontational. Like, what are those personality differences and what are those struggles that you guys have from time to time?
Yeah, so one of the things I had to cope with or get adjusted to in the beginning is one of the personalities of Chelsea, in the sense of that she's not able to do two things at once.
All women should know how to do that.
Yeah, so for example, when she's doing the dishes, I cannot ask her something because she is focused on doing the dishes and she cannot think of anything else. On the other hand, my personality is like, I want to be efficient with my time. So I was, in my mind, I'm like, if she's doing the dishes, this is a good time to ask questions, and then we can do two things at once. Getting to know your spouse and how your spouse works and what their personalities and preferences are. That's something that's a journey from the beginning, and along the way you will learn of the preferences of your spouse, and you try to deal with those and try to incorporate them and manage them.
Our differences in personality. I think I need a lot of attention. And then maybe in the beginning I wasn't as direct, and now I'm just like, I need attention. So that's my thing. Personality of yours that I don't enjoy. No. I had something. So he's a homebody. And when we go out, I don't know, I would like to do things, and he prefers to stay home. So that's a difference in our personality. And then I just have to trick him to go out. So, no. Then I need to trick you to get out the door. I think we both need personal space at times.
But you need attention more than he does?
Yeah, I think so.
But you also mentioned during fights, and I'm not going to forget this, you are more the confronting and he's more the chill one. How does that work for you guys? Do you sometimes feel like I'm talking to you, but you're just fine? Or like, or for you, do you sometimes feel like why can't you just be chill like me? Like,
Yeah.
how does that work for you guys?
That's basically our fights. Yeah. I think so I'm more confrontational, but I don't think you walk away from things when we have fights or problems. So I'm very grateful for that. Because I feel like when it is important, you will tell me.
Would you like him to be more confronting?
I think maybe I care more about certain subjects, and then he's more like, oh, whatever. It's not something we can change, so we don't need to talk about this.
Yeah. Would you like her to be more
Chill.
chill?
No, yeah, I think right now it seems like she's very confrontational, but I think in general, I think that Chelsea's pretty chill as well.
Oh.
So
He doesn't believe it.
Do you believe it?
Yeah.
if somebody is very confrontational and the
Yeah.
other one is
Also very confrontational.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
you
a
can
lot.
just have
Yeah.
I mean, these are all the questions I have, but I feel like I missed one part where I wanted to ask what is one. Yeah, it was the part about the struggles that you've had. How is marriage going so far?
Oh, yeah.
And there was one part you mentioned where, there was something in your family and that also affected you guys. I'm really curious, not in what happened in your family, but how did that affect you guys as a couple? And then how did you move on from that?
There was a fight kind of between our families, and it was kind of difficult for us because you feel you understand your own family better, I think.
Yeah.
I think in retrospect, it is not our fight. It was them.
Yeah.
But it's hard to be in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And I think in some way you feel responsible. But I think you're really not responsible for this. And like I've said to him before, I don't think there is a right way to handle this, or we haven't figured it out yet. Luckily, we are past it, so that's nice.
Yeah.
But I think conflicts between families is just very difficult
Yeah.
to navigate through.
Yeah.
I am grateful that I could share what my opinions were and my thoughts. I don't think all my opinions or thoughts were fair to him or right,
Yeah.
but I did get to voice them, and he didn't get mad.
Nice.
How was that for you?
Yeah. How was
Yeah.
that for you,
I
Vincent?
think the other way around as well. So yeah, I had my point of view, and I could see from the perspective from my side of the family, I could see it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, with talking with Chelsea, made clear what the perspective was from the other side. So yeah, for us, we both saw, I think, both perspectives, and yeah, that makes it hard as well, because then you see that from our side we would resolve it, but yeah,
The conflict is still there.
the conflict
Yeah.
is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And finding a way of how to deal with it, yeah, that's also very, very hard to do, because there's not a best way.
Yeah.
There are multiple ways,
Yeah.
and you have to figure out and choose what you choose.
Yeah.
And yeah, one factor in our situation was time. So yeah, in this case, yeah, time heals wounds,
Yeah.
but also yeah, trying to talk and try to figure it out from there.
I think, to be really fair, I was kind of mad at the other party, but also then kind of mad at you in that situation, because it's hard not to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just very difficult.
Yeah.
And but I'm glad we're now past that.
Do you think there was any practical element to how you guys moved past that, or was it just time? I mean, you already mentioned that you could discuss and see where the other person is coming from, but was there any other practical sides to it? Like, I don't know what this was. Maybe that was you giving Chelsea more validation. Maybe that was Chelsea giving you more this is not going to interfere with us, and again establishing that boundary. Like, what were some practical sides to helping you guys move forward?
It sounds so corny, but prayer.
Mm.
Because I noticed a lot of resentment towards his family.
Yeah.
And that's not what you want in your heart.
Yeah.
So I really noticed that I cannot have that in my heart.
Yeah.
But it's a prayer you need to pray constantly, because you can pray about it and then the resentment goes away and then it comes back.
Yeah.
I think prayer really helps.
Was there any practical side to you?
Yeah, I think communication is key.
Yeah.
So just talking to each other and from there on seeing their perspective and just discussing as a couple how to deal with it.
Yeah. Well, that's all the questions I have. And to just end all of this, just want to throw the general question. I know in between this conversation you have given one advice here or there, but just off the top of your head, what are 3 things that you have held on to, either by yourself or together, that has really, kept your marriage?
As mentioned before, communication.
Yeah.
I think for me that's one of the most important things. If you lose communication, then from there on, it can only go downhill.
Yeah.
So keep that as an important factor throughout your whole relationship.
Yeah.
Then a second thing I think is to keep spending time with each other. So try to organize dates with each other, or have your free evening where you have it scheduled regularly in the week.
Yeah.
But have a moment for yourself as a couple.
Yeah. Yeah, 2 is also good. Doesn't have to be a hard 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going into marriage, my main thing was that I want our eyes to be on Jesus at all times.
Nice.
So in any situation that we ask ourselves the questions, what are we looking at?
Yeah.
That's the main question. And then 2 is to have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What exactly is fun?
Well,
So don't keep us confused on what fun is.
we just really have our own humor, I think. And we just laugh a lot together. And I find that so valuable. And the third thing is don't take each other for granted. Yeah.
What does that look like?
I think, especially when you're married for a long time and you do life together for so long, it's so easy to just, because he's always there, you know? But you forget how valuable he is as a person, how much he adds to your life, to keep remembering yourself.
Okay.
My third thing is my third thing is prayer with each other. I think that's one big aspect where you can really grow closer to each other, because that's a moment where you are not alone in your relationship, but close to God as well. And in those moments you can be vulnerable, and you can find out what is going on with your spouse's life. But also then try to be there for each other. Grow closer in that way.
These are really, really nice. There are also some things I've learned from your whole story. Also, like the way you guys look at things from a lens of this is temporary. I think that's really nice. And I also love the honesty that you guys could share with each other. And it seems to me that you're not somebody who has a big ego. Or maybe I don't just know enough to come to that conclusion. But I really love how you guys can be honest with each other. And I thought I knew your story enough, but I've also learned. But you're also welcome because you've also gotten to learn more about each other.
Yes, thank you.
Well, thanks for sharing all of this. I just love that you could come with your own perspective of what worked for you guys and what could potentially work for someone out there. In all of these, I also think marriage prep is something you shouldn't take for granted. Speak with the right people who can really speak into your life, because I really see that that's something that also prepared you guys. And I think also just having similar expectations going into marriage, that also helps, because the further away your expectations are apart, that can really affect you guys once you step in. So like with things like finances, gender roles and everything, it's nice that your expectations just fell in line, or you didn't even have expectations and, you know, everybody just cooperated. I think that's really nice. Well, thank you so much, Chelsea and Vincent. Thank you for being here, sharing your story. You want to say something?
Oh, I just want to say I also wanted to say thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
And just have a moment where we could talk and
Also
you know,
reflect.
reflect our relationship. And we did learn more about each other.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
But yeah, thank you. And on this channel, I want to do things like this with more couples. Maybe at some point even talk about, you know, parenting. You know, when you guys are in that stage, I might come back again. But yeah, I hope it's also helpful for you guys. Maybe you're engaged, maybe you're early phases of marriage, maybe you're just in a relationship. I hope that some of this could be helpful for you. And see you when I have another couple who is willing to share. And thank you once again, and bye-bye.